Parsha Shoftim. So, the beginning of the Parsha says about the judges, and it says the mitzvah of, right, and you'll see the second pasuk, V'lo yisikach shoichad. You shouldn't take shoichad. What's shoichad? So shoichad means a bribe. Up to the point that the Gemara learns out the root of the word shoichad is an acronym. The acronym is from two words being shehu chad. When you take a bribe, you become one. You become like connected with the person who you take the bribe from, and it's like chad. Chad is one. Shehu chad. You and that person are one. So that's the Gemara learns that out. And this is a lav. It's a negative commandment, which is said here as well as in Parashas Mishpatim. So it's therefore counted as the 83rd mitzvah that someone should not take a bribe. So that's just the start of it. And the Rashi learns out, right? You should see the pasuk first. The pasuk yotes leisata mishpav leisakir panim leisikach shoichad. You shouldn't take a shoichad. Ki shoichad, the bribe, ya'aver einei chachamim. It will blind the eyes of the wise people. So the Gemara lays out, even the wisest people, it will blind them, and will be misalef divrei tzadikim. Misalef means that it will be able to switch in the eyes of the tzadikim, switch around his words. He will all of a sudden have new words. So his words will flip around. So that's the pasuk, and the Rashi brings down Loisikach shoichad. So the Gemara learns out, what's the chiddush? What is the novel idea in this pasuk? Of course, you can't take a bribe. It already said the first words of the pasuk, loisata mishpat. So the first words of the pasuk are, don't tilt the judgment, don't pervert the judgment. So if I already know you can't pervert the judgment, so why does it say loisikach shoichad? Loisikach shoichad means you can't take a bribe. So of course you can't take a bribe. We already know that's going to pervert your judgment. And it said loisata mishpat, you have to make sure your judgment is straight, and you can't be lehatos. You can't tilt the judgment to one party. So why do you need a new pasuk to say loi sikach shoichad? Don't take shoichad.
There must be another reason.
So the Gemara learns out that you can't take shoichad even on the condition to do a good din. Even if you say, I'm going to judge fairly, I'm just taking shoichad, but I'm really going to do a good din. Look at the Rashi, 3 lines on the bottom. Leisikach shoichad, 3 lines on the bottom on the first column. Afilu lishbait tzedek. Even if he says, I'm going to judge tzedek. 3 lines on the bottom. I want to do a good judgment. I'm going to do a good judgment. I'm just taking some money anyway. Leisikach shoichad. Why? Ki ha-shoichad ya'aver einei chachamim. Says Rashi, Mishakibel shoichad, because the minute you take the bribe, efshar shalayate es levavai. It's efshar. What's efshar mean?
Too late.
It's not possible.
It's impossible. Asher Yotza, right? We say that in Asher Yotza, right? Efshar, it's impossible. Impossible that will not tilt your heart towards the favor of that fellow, to try to be mahapech b'zchuzay, to try to overturn some type of idea in his chus, in his favor. And it will also take things which are divrei tzadikim, righteous words, and it will flip it around to be sheker, to give him other words which are not really so straight. So Rashi is saying here it's impossible. So which means the pasuk's not coming to say that you shouldn't take shoichad, shouldn't take bribery to go with that fellow who gives you the bribe to help him out. No, that is already, we know from Leisata Mishpat, you can't tilt the judgment. The pasuk is telling you rather that you cannot take a bribe even to judge the true din, because you will inevitably, against your will, it will be tilted. Up to the point that the Gemara says, a very interesting Gemara. The Gemara goes all through different cases, but the Gemara there says that Rabbi Yishmael, if I'm not mistaken.
Bridge and a handshake, or to help him over the water or something?
Yes, exactly. Irving?
No.
You
probably brought it up one time.
You are doing amazing. Well, you remember it from one time.
Right.
That's the halavai. We should just remember everything we hear in a share. The answer is, yeah, you got to be part of the share. If you take part and it's interactive, engaging, and you take part of it, you remember it better. Very good. So Irving is bringing up the Gemara, Kofei Amud Beis, in case anyone doesn't have a Gemara on them or in front of them. I'm just going to tell you what Irving is quoting by heart. The Gemara says a bunch of different stories. One of them that Irving just said, I'll just quote that first, is Shmuel. Shmuel was crossing the bridge, and it was like in those days, it wasn't like today's bridge. It was very rickety. So someone gave his hand. A certain man came and gave him the hand and said, "Hold on to me." So Shmuel said, "Maya videtech." What's happening here? What's your business here? So you seem like there's something happening. Where'd you come from? Why are you giving me your hand? What are you doing here? So Amar lei Dina Isli. I have a lawsuit. I have to, take care, and I'm going to try it in your court. So Amar lei, so Shmuel told him, if that's the case, Pasilna lach ledina. Pasilna. I'm puzzled. I'm puzzled ledina. I can't do the din for you. I can't judge for you. Because you just gave me shoichat. You gave me a bribe. It wasn't $100,000, but it was a hand. Then there was another story. What was the next story? With a Meimar. Right? Shmuel was with the hand. A Meimar, he was sitting down, and a feather flew onto his head. A feather flew on his head. So a different man came over and took the feather off. So Rabbi said, "What are you doing here? What's your business here? You seem to have an agenda. Why are you hanging around the court?" So he said, "Well, I need to have a lawsuit." So Rabbi told him, "You're a puzzle. I can't judge for you now. I was bribed. You bribed me. You took off the feather off of my head." Another man, Mar Ukva, was walking, and there was a little bit of something, some spit on the road in front of him. So a man came and rushed ahead of him and covered it over. So Mar Ukva said, "What is your business here?" So he said, "Again, I have a judge. Well, I have a case." So he said, "I'm puzzled to judge for you." And the Gemara goes through different cases. And the one of the last stories is that Rabbi Yishmael b'Rabbi Yossi, it's interesting, he always tried to do at least more than the letter of the law. So he used to have a person, he had a sharecropper who used to bring him some crops every week, every Friday. One time he brought it to him on Thursday. So he said, why did you bring this? What's happening? You're bringing it early? So he said, "I have a lawsuit. I need to be tried from you." So I said, "I might as well bring you the fruits." So what happened is, he told him, "I can't judge for you, because this is also a type of bribe." So what happened is, now he told him, "But I'm not taking it yet. I'm not taking it. I only get it on Friday. I'm waiting till Friday." But he refused him. So the Gemara says that Rabbi Shmuel said, "I'm not going to be the judge." So he brought in another 3 people to be the judge. And then he was walking by the case. He was listening, and he said to himself, he was listening to the case. He said, "Oh, the sharecropper, he should say this taina. He should say this claim, and he should say back to him this claim." And he started thinking how he was hearing himself think that how the man should say this claim and how he would win. So he was so in touch with himself, he was able to understand what he was feeling and his inclinations. And he said, "Wow, I didn't even take the bribe. I told him, bring it back tomorrow. And I'm not even judging. And even if I would have taken it, it would have been mine anyway, really, because it's just a day early." Could you imagine? And I'm still already trying to help the man win. So from here we see that even small little things they tilt the judgment and make a person that he can't think straight anymore.
In that last case, if I heard right, you said that every week he used to be getting something, and 1 week he was going to give him extra.
No,
fruits to be for him also?
1 week he brought it early.
Oh, just to be early.
He brought it early.
And if he wouldn't have brought it early, if he would have brought it on time, because it's would it be still considered because it's a regular weekly occurrence?
Yeah, because that's a sharecrop. You get that's the deal that you work and you bring it for me. But because he brought it a day early
before the case, and okay,
so that already was tilting his judgment.
Right, that's right. Okay.
And he didn't accept it, and even though he didn't accept it,
he saw himself being intimidated by it.
Right. So this is the lav. It's a lav that one cannot take shoichad. Now the question is, are you allowed to give shoichad? Let's say you're not the taker, you're the giver. The judge can't take. Are you allowed to give? Because the pasuk says, what's the pasuk? What's the words of the pasuk?
Don't take a bribe.
Don't take a bribe. Like sikach.
It doesn't say don't give a bribe.
Right. So the Gemara says that it's not. He's not allowed to give it, but for a new reason, for a different reason, and the reason is for a different avera. Which avera is it? To give a bribe?
Stumbling block. Oh.
There you go. Irving is 2 for 2 tonight.
Wow.
Says, do not place a stumbling block in front of your friend. Lifnei iver lo yisitein michshol. So, therefore, Irving is going to Gemara further in Sanhedrin that says that if you can't put a stumbling block before your friend. So, therefore, if you offer the judge $1,000, you are setting him up for failure. He's going to take the bribe. So, by you putting in front of him, that's like giving a nazir some wine to drink. That's lifnei iver lo yisitein michshol. So, therefore, the Gemara says he cannot take it for that reason.
What's the Hebrew for stumbling? This one for stumbling block. Don't put a stumbling block. What is the Hebrew?
Lifnei iver. In front of an iver. What's an iver?
Somebody else.
Right, but what type of person? An iver is a blind person.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Okay,
There you go, Irving. 4 for 4 tonight. Ivrim, right? An iver is a blind. Lifnei iver lo titen michshol. A michshol is a stumbling block. So that's the first part. And so we're coming out with a few different things here. We're coming out with the idea that it's not only with shoichad with cash. The Gemara learns out. It's even shochad devarim.
What about, and it says about the Kohen Gadol, he would, the mother of the Kohen Gadol would bake for pastries for the community, so they wouldn't give him an ayin yara.
She would make it for the person who killed by mistake. Someone who kills by mistake.
Right. They go to the
Ari Miklat. They go to Ari Miklat. The Ari Miklat is a city of refuge where someone who killed by mistake. So it was a mistake. So he doesn't have to get killed. But because the one who got killed, his relatives will be very angry. So they might try to take revenge. So the Torah says you can run to the Ari Miklat. That city of refuge, then no one's allowed to touch him in the city of refuge.
But she would make.
And how long is that for? How long does he stay there for? He stays in the city of refuge until the Kohen Gadol dies.
Wow.
So the Gemara says that the mother of the Kohen Gadol would always bake things and make food for the inadvertent these killers.
So they don't mind staying in the city.
In order that they'll be happy in the city, and they won't daven.
Right.
They won't daven that the Kohen Gadol should die.
Right. So is that bribery?
She is very busy. 6 cities, 2 different.
Is that bribery?
Corners of the
So that could be, it's okay, because there she's just trying to stop them from davening that her son should die.
Could be borderline bribery.
Yeah. Could be in a way bribery. Yeah. It's very interesting. You have to think about it. There's a lot of different ways. This is not only with a court and it's not with a court and judges. Lo sigav shochad. It applies to a lot of cases where you have business deals, and you have to be very careful about not getting meshuchad. Meshuchad means bribed, and not having a negiah. A negiah means like your heart is like touched or like tilted. The phrase is, do you have any nagia? Like, what? Why you you know?
Noga, is that from the same word?
Could be
noga?
from
like
nagia. Could be from
like
any
a blemish.
no, it could be from touching maybe.
Oh.
But it's a common phrase that you're nageya b'davar, like you're a party which you're privy to one side. You're not just without any bias. You're a nageya b'davar. So this is all you have to always check yourself. Is there any type of shoichet? Even someone who took a feather off of your head is already shoichet. Someone who helped you cross the bridge, shoichet. Or covered over the spit in front of you, that's shochet. So therefore, the Gemara says it's all types of shochet. It's even dibur, devarim. It's all types of matters that they help you out, or even talking, saying something nice, flattering. That could all be shochet. And it even if you take it, like the Rashi is saying here, to judge for the righteous. You're going to judge right. It's still usher. So that's the beginning of this halacha. Now, the question is like this. What would you say in the following case? Let's say someone takes a bribe. He takes a bribe. Does he have to give it back? He takes a bribe and he sees that it's not such a good thing. I took a bribe. Right? So now he wants to know, what does he do? Does he give it back? Should he keep it? Is he allowed to keep it? What do you think?
Donate it.
What?
Donate it.
Huh?
Donate.
You can donate it. Where should he donate it to? So,
if you donated it even to tzedakah, it's like Robin Hood doing an avera to do a mitzvah, which is probably, I don't know, not acceptable, no?
Yeah. The truth is, so the Chinuch writes, the Chinuch, when he counts the mitzvah, he says that if anyone accepts it, it's like horror. It's like he got a curse, because the pasuk says actually we're going to have it in 2 weeks' times in the parsha of the curses, Chav Zayin and Chav Hey. It says, cursed is someone who takes shofad. Interesting. I'll read you the pasuk. You can turn there also if you want. Chav Zayin Chav Hey, page 1074.
In Kisavo?
Yes. Arur lokeach shoichad lahakos dam nefesh dam naki. Cursed is someone who takes a bribe to kill someone who's innocent. Ramakol amen. It's an interesting application, because here it's actually saying for someone who accepts a bribe to kill someone. So he gets an orur, right? He gets like one of the curses. Numerous curses are enumerated here. But that's what the Chinuch writes. The Chinuch writes, if you accept the bribe, then you go into that pasuk of the orur, of the curse, orur lakeach shoichad. But the interesting idea is that the Minchas Chinuch says, but it seems that's only if he does it lahakos nafesh. The pasuk says to kill someone. If he just takes it, let's say to take some money away, he was going to make someone innocent in terms of money. Maybe there it seems that it shouldn't be arur. Arur is only lahakos nafesh, to kill someone. So. Therefore, he says he doesn't understand really. For money, it seems it's only a lav. It's a negative commandment. Now, it will also come out that if someone takes a bribe, he will now be puzzle for edus, because he's done this lo saseh. He now becomes puzzle. He can't say any court. He can't be your aid, your witness for anything. Now. But the next thing he says is chayev lahachzir. You have to give it back. So you have to give it back. The Chinuch rules.
You can't donate it.
What?
You can't donate it.
Can't donate it. You have to give it back. So it's interesting, I think, to think about. Like, why do you have to give it back? He gave it to you, right? He really did give it to you. So something which has to be thought about, really. Do you have to give it back when it's up to you, or it's up to him? Let's say he says, I just want to give you a present. And you say, no, you take it, but then now you decide you want to give it back. But he says, no, you could keep it, really. What's the halacha there? So, if he's moichel you, if he says, I'm moichel you, it's a present, okay, then it's a present. But let's say he doesn't say it's a present. He just says, it's a bribe, I'm not taking it back. So, it's a question if you have to give it back. Because he gave it to you. He gave it to you with ratzon. He gave it to you with the goodwill. So it could be you don't have to give it back.
But he might use it sometime in the future as leverage or so.
Yeah.
Say,
So
remember that time? Remember that? You can help me out. I gave you that.
So it's interesting. It seems to be a big question if you have to give it back. That could be the reason why you would have to give it back. But some say, well, in terms of this, he did something wrong by accepting the bribe. Now, you were going to, right? Well, anyway, you're going to judge fairly. So maybe you don't have to give it back. The question is this comparable to ribbis? What happens if someone takes ribbis? He takes.
It's not allowed to.
Interest.
You're not allowed to.
Oh, you can't.
You're not allowed to take. You're not allowed to give. You're not allowed to take.
Both.
Okay.
Yeah. So ribbis, if someone takes ribbis, he has to give it back. He has to. The pasuk says, "V'chai achicha yimach," you have to help your brother live. So the Gemara learns out actually that you have to give it back to help him live. Give back the money. So the question is, could you compare it to here? Maybe here too. He took money from his friend. Maybe he has to give it back. So it's a
taking money. That's not interest. I mean, they're talking specifically interest. You take 100, you give back 110, but $10 difference. That's what he's talking about. But a bribe wouldn't be the same. It's not interest.
Not interest. No, but it's a different love. It's one negative commandment or another. They're both negative commandments that you shouldn't take this money.
Yeah.
So maybe you could compare, just like by ribbis you have to give it back. So to maybe here you have to give it back. That's the question. If you could compare the two, or maybe ribbis is worse because it says you should help your brother live. You shouldn't take ribbis. Shouldn't take interest from him. If you do, then you have to give it back. Maybe there it's worse. So
So that's how you would do teshuvah on interest or on the other one because it's teshuvah. We understand when you're in the same position that you don't do the same thing.
Yeah.
So
that's the level. If you want to measure yourself to see if you really did tshuva,
right.
The way to measure yourself is to see if you're put in the same exact situation.
So
would you give in?
If you don't give it back, and then the next time you're in the same position and you don't do it, so you've done tshuva, but you've kept the money, you've kept it.
Yeah. He did allow it, but if he did a real tshuva, he did tshuva. There's an argument if he has to give it back because. On the one hand, maybe you gave it to me, right? You gave it to me. You wanted me to have it.
Right.
So maybe I don't know. Maybe there's no. Who says I have to give? I didn't take it against your will.
Right.
It's not like Gazela where I stole money from you. So maybe I don't have to give it back. I did something wrong. I was over a lav by taking it. It's shochad. I took shochad. But maybe that doesn't mean that. Maybe I don't have to give it back. Only if maybe he comes over and he says. I don't know what got into me. I don't know why I gave it to you. That's it's terrible. I want my money back. So if he requests his money back, then it could be then you have to give it back. Then you would have to give it back. Interesting idea.
Yeah.
He gave it with goodwill, but
Yeah.
if he claims it now, then you have to give it back.
But there's other laws about. Something Kenyan, like once you've taken ownership of it, then would it still be considered his to give back?
To take back.
Yeah, like it's the recipient's now.
Yeah,
like
that's the question.
It's actually his.
That's the question. Is there any claim? You want to know if he claims it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a big argument. A big argument. Some say that he could claim it back. Maybe because
one of the ways of taking ownership is by picking up and putting it in your hand, or moving it, or changing it, or something. I understand.
yeah. So the truth is, they ask, why do you have to give it back? Why should you have to give it back? Where did the chinuch get it from? Where did the Rambam get it from? They have to give it back. So the Minchas Chinuch wants to say that because you took it, so you did something against the Torah. So you're accepting a bribe and you're ruling a case with a bribe. It's not a ruling. So he wants to say that it could be the whole din falls down. It's like the whole deck of cards falls in. So therefore, it wasn't a din. So if it wasn't a din, so then you shouldn't be getting any money. So that's what he goes back and forth on, this idea, maybe. Okay, so that's one thing to think about. Now, what do you think? Could you take a bribery from two sides? Let's say both of them come, and they both take it. They both want to give a bribe. Are you allowed to take from both? Because it's even, maybe. So the Sma on the side, what?
Can't be.
So the Sma says, like David, that you can't. It's usher. Because if you can't accept from one,
you're actually doubling up.
You can't accept from two either. Even though maybe you'll say, well, it's not applicable. The whole reason, what's the whole problem? The problem is I'll tilt towards him, but here I'll tilt towards both of them. So we're back to start. The Sma says that it's impossible.
It's interesting because one of the rules of Shabbos that we talked about, was I think it's if you're carrying outside an Eruv, if it's one person, you can do it. But if it's two people, Minatora, it's not an Avera on the two people.
How are they carrying? What
if they share the carrying of something.
If they share the carry. If the two people carry like a chair that one person could carry.
Right, like so one person is not allowed to, but two people it's not considered. I don't quite understand that, but that's
because it's a shinoi. It's something which is not normal.
Change, so.
Normally, I could carry one chair. If
so
you
that may be based on that. When it's split to two people, and he's getting the money from two people, I thought maybe you would say maybe it's okay.
No, but by the case of the two people carrying the chair, that's like a shinoi. A shinoi on Shabbos, they're doing something irregular. It's not normal. That's not the way to do it. So therefore, it's not from the Torah. It's not also from the Torah. Maybe you shouldn't do it from the Rabbanon. But
right.
So it's a shinoi. But over here, they both come privately to give. So he has two messages on his machine. He picks up. So there, is he allowed to take a bribe from both? So the Sma says that it's impossible. It can't be that he could take it. If you can't take it from one, you for sure can't take it from both.
That's right.
Even though you have to, he says, even though it might be, sounds like it's equal. So that's also very interesting to work on. Now, it doesn't mean that a judge can't get any money for doing the judgment. He could take money just as wages from both of them as wages. For, let's say, if he has a job and he's going to be idle from his job, he can't do his job, so he could take money as a fee from both of them. That's different. That's something else. It's called schar batala. It's the wages for being batal, that he's not able to be at his work. So that's different.
But that must be paid by both people to all the judges.
Right,
no?
Right, and equally, yes, yeah. So this is something to work on. That a person has to always be careful about this, right? And lifnei iver is the other side of the coin. Lifnei iver, you can't give a bribe. Now, you have to know also by. Question would be, could you give it to a non-Jewish judge? That's something to work on. Okay, but basically this is the first mitzvah, which is very important to work on, and this is the din. It's relevant whenever you have a court, even today, and anyone who will give a bribe, that will be the lav. Therefore, he puts it down. The chinuch says it's relevant in all times. In all times. So that's the first mitzvah here. Now, although since he's able to give it back, the chinuch ends off. Since you're able to return it, so you don't get malchus. If someone did accept a bribe, so he doesn't get lashes, because it's I would compare it to stealing. If someone steals, there's a mitzvah to return it. Mitzvah to right. You're supposed to return the stolen object. So that's called a lav hanitiklasei. It's a negative commandment, but it can be fixed up by a positive commandment. So any mitzvah, any losa, say any lav that someone does that has a way to be fixed up, then there's no malchus, right? Like nosar. Let's say someone leaves over carbon. He was supposed to eat it by a day or 2 days, and he left it over for 3 days. So the pasuk says he has to burn it. So the burning it is the way to fix it up. So any mitzvah where you could fix it up, there's no malchus. That's the rule usually. It's called a lav hanitak, which fixes the asay, fixes the positive commandment.
So somebody that does teshuvah, they have nullified whatever avera they've done, right?
Right.
But this is not teshuvah. This is stealing and then returning. That's not teshuvah, though.
So he has to do teshuvah also.
No, but so it doesn't nullify. He still gets a judgment for the avera, and then he gets the zichut for the mitzvah.
Well, yeah, but if he does the mitzvah of returning it and he does teshuvah in his heart, then he's rectified the
right.
avera.
That's if he does teshuvah also. But if he takes and returns, he hasn't nullified it like doing tshuva. He's going to be responsible for the avera, and he's also going to get the mitzvah of the return.
Right.
Right. But he's still culpable.
Yeah.
For the,
I think he's still doing tshuva. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's interesting. He says that if someone does such a thing, and he accepts a bribe, so he doesn't get lashes because he's able to return it. So it seems like you're able to fix it up a little. He seems to hold that you just give it back and then you could fix it up. So that's...
how come you wouldn't have to return, you know how we went through if you steal an ox or a sheep and you got to do plus 4 times and 5 times, whatever. So how come here it wouldn't be that you fix it up just by returning the same thing and not by having...
Why did you have to do it 4 or 5 times?
Yeah.
No, so there it's different. By stealing an ox and slaughtering it or selling it, when he furthers his act so much, he furthered his act of stealing up to the point that not only did he steal, but he furthered that act and he took it, let's say, changed the ownership, and he furthered the act of stealing to send it to someone else, or he sold it to someone else. Or he furthered the act by what? What's the other case?
Eating it, I guess.
Slaughtering it and eating it. Slaughtering it. So the slaughtering is also furthering his act of stealing. It's 2 ways how to further your act.
So if he stole and returned, he wouldn't have to be punished with the extras?
No. If he just steals something and an ox and give it back, you don't pay 4 and 5.
Because he hasn't harmed the ox.
He hasn't taken it to the next level.
Yeah, that's right.
It's only if he shechs it or if he sells it.
Then the damage is done.
It's called tavach umachar. He shechted it or sold it. But in a regular case, you don't do 4 or 5. 4 or 5 is only for this exact case.
Okay.
That's the pasuk that says over there. That's the that we learn out for furthering that act so much. But in a regular case, he only pays maybe might pay. Depends if he was caught. If he's caught, he pays twice. He pays kefil. If he was caught. If he wasn't caught, if he just comes on his own, then he pays 1 time. So that's the halacha here. So it's something interesting to keep in mind. You have to be on the lookout. When do we have shoichad? Right? When is it applicable to us? You know, if we have any inclination, are we under the influence? If we're under the influence, so this, I don't know if it will get the lav, but for sure has that idea that the person has to always be straight, and he can't be under any influence. That's a good to keep all these these stories in mind. These are very important. That any shoichad, any type of accepting any bribe, tilts your even we're talking about Amoraim here, right? We're talking about Tanoim. Shmuel is a Amoira. Rabbi Shmuel, Rabbi Yosi, he's a Tana. So you see that it could even affect them. So for sure for us, what it could do for us is much worse. So that's something to work on, to be always clean. Okay, so that's a good mitzvah for this week, at least to get it started. You'll use this Friday night, bring it up at your table.
Thank you.
Yeah, excellent.
And this could be that could be the reason why you'll have to give back. This reason here, why do you have to give back the money, is because maybe the whole din is invalid because you gave it, so now you're bribing, so the whole din is no good. So you have to give back the money to him because you took it for a court case, but the whole court case fell down because there's no court, there's no judge. This judge is invalid. He can't judge your case, so therefore you have to give it back. That's the idea brought up by the mental still. Okay.
Thank you.